I have worked with a lot of coaches and mentors over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I have the impression that most of them did the least that they could do to satisfy me. If I had an hour to talk to them, they would maybe scan what I sent over for a couple of minutes beforehand, and then they would improvise. It's not that I didn't get anything from that, because they were very smart people and they had a lot to offer.
Mm-hmm.
But I was very surprised when I wrote up an agenda for a talk with Terry Dean, and I paid him for 45 minutes of time. I think that he probably spent an hour and a half beforehand reading through everything that I sent him, looking at the sales letter, really thinking through systematically what was wrong with it, how he could help me. And as a result, I really leapfrogged from where I was.
That's really impressive to have a coach spend that much time.
It really is. I first heard of Terry way back when on Net Breakthroughs, which was this first paid discussion board on the internet, and come to think of it, he would spend time answering your questions there also. He doesn't do that anymore because he got kind of overwhelmed with how many people, so he works in a more private environment.
He takes his clients very seriously.
He takes it very seriously. I think it actually hurts him when we don't succeed. This is a guy that really does what he does as a career, not as just a little income stream.
Got it.
It was very helpful to me, extremely helpful to me. For me in particular, he had a missing piece of the puzzle. Like, I succeeded because I was a really good researcher, because I worked really hard, and because I was a really good tester. But I didn't totally understand what copywriting was about. And people think that it's a simple thing, but it's not, and he really put that together for me. Terry was also enamored with my abilities because I was such a good researcher, and research plus copywriting is a real effective punch.
Right. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so he really added a missing piece for me. And
what was the result of your work with Terry?
The result was that I grew a big business, right? The result is that I'm doing what I want to do and making plenty of money doing it, and definitely making more than if I had not worked with him. I think one result, which I kind of kid him about, but I actually think it's true, I feel like he gave me superpowers.
Superpowers, honey. Mm-hmm.
I now know what's wrong with any particular section of my business. That doesn't mean I necessarily have all the resources to fix it, but that doesn't matter, because it's like having x-ray vision, and you can really see what the path is to get to where you want to go.
That's so cool.
And it's just a matter of prioritizing and focusing and climbing the mountain little by little. Whereas if you want to climb Mount Everest, but for some reason you think the path is out in the middle of the ocean, or you just can't find the path, then that's really bad. If you want to climb Mount Everest and someone points out to you where the trail is that goes up Mount Everest, well, you still have to climb it, but at least you know where the trail is. At least you know that if you just put one foot in front of the other, you're going to get there.
Right. That's a really cool analogy. It reminds me of the one where the guy's looking for his keys, and he's looking underneath a street lamp, and a person says, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm looking for my keys." And he says, "Well, where did you lose them?" He said, "By my car." And he says, "Where's your car?" "Over there." He says, "But why are you looking under the street lamp?" And he said, "Well, because I can see here."
Right. And that's where people tend to look.
Right.
Terry got me looking over by the car.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
And so now I'm like halfway to 2/3 up the mountain that I really want to be on, and just really happy about it. With superpowers, newfound superpowers.
You're so funny.
Which were particularly important for me also, because my way of gaining insight into a market was through in-depth marketing research, which could take 3 to 6 months. At this point, I've got about 8 years experience online, and he's got about 16. And what he had developed was a method for seeing the insights faster from a copywriter's perspective to figure out what was already driving the market. And then we combined our powers, and I figured out what was the research you could do in an afternoon that would fuel the insights that he had. And now we both have those superpowers. And what it empowers me to do, which is really important, is when I work with my students, now I can give them feedback about what's going on in their market and where they're having trouble without spending 6 months researching the market. I've had the experience over and over again of talking to people saying, "You should do X." They do X, and they come back and they go, "Oh my God, I got 30% more, or double my business," whatever it was. And plus, they don't pay me for that.
He gave you these really cool glasses, and you gave him a cape.
Something like that, yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so I mean, that's why big fan of Terry Dean.
And you were beginning to use some words to describe him. You said honest. What other words might you use to describe him? He
is 100% honest, and there's a lot of people that you suspect online are not honest, and they're probably not honest. There's a lot of people that you suspect are honest online, and they're probably not honest either. And there's just a very few people who are actually honest, and that's definitely one of
Terry. Who look honest, sound honest, and actually are.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
It's kind of funny. I don't know how important that is for someone that you hire as a coach, but he's funny. He's always looking to laugh at something, and he laughs at my jokes. So he makes me laugh.
Well, we know that that's important, actually, in how people make selections of vendors, right?
Yeah. He's fair-minded. My relationship with Terry evolved from being a coach to a partner, and you know all the troubles that can ensue when you're working with a partner, but he's fair-minded. Whatever happened in any of our projects, we always worked out an equitable solution between us, and I can't say that about any other partner. I really can't.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
As a wife, he's a nice friend for you to have.
He is. He's very opinionated as well. You know, I'm a psychologist by training, and...
Are you really?
I really am.
Oh, good.
And one of the most annoying things...
Is when your wife asks you that question.
Well, that too. But one of the most annoying things for most people when they go to see a psychologist for the first time is they kind of use this reflective, hide-behind-the-couch attitude of, well, I don't know. You have the answers. I don't have the answers. I'm just here to guide you.
Right.
And that's not him. If he knows something, he will give you a very definitive opinion, whether you like it or not.
Right.
And 3/4 of the time you don't like it. But it's better to have the truth.
It's like he gives you an inoculation so you can actually succeed in the world.
Opens your eyes. Says, look, this is what you're dealing with, and this is what I think you should do.
Having that knowledge, you can adjust to it and do better.
Well, yeah, duh.
He doesn't just like pander and patronize.
Right.
There are times when I wish people would.
The other thing that I know about him is that, like a good doctor, he works hard on making sure that his practice is comprised of people he can actually help that he wants to work with.
Right.
I know this because many of our appointments together were helping me work that out in my business as well. He said, Glenn, I think you need to write more screening copy here. I think you need to try to convince people not to buy at this point, and that way the people that get through those hurdles are going to the people that you really want to work with. And that works.
I think that's really smart.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to do like a good neighbor, State Farm is here.
Like a good neighbor, Terry is there.
There you go.
That's what I have to say about Terry.
I think that's really nice and makes me want to work with him.
Cool.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.